Hello, we are live. We are live today. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. We are Scholist App. We're an innovative scholarship platform that strives to help students with scholarship resources. This is the first ever workshop we have in our workshop series, and today, resume building. I'm excited to have y'all here. Now, if y'all could put in the chat where y'all are from, what school y'all are from, so we can, get to know y'all a little better. Even put in what city you're viewing this from. Feel free to let us know. We're excited to have y'all. Also, I was going to say today our guest speaker is Miss Ashley Guevara, and she has an amazing presentation to share with us. Now, if you have any questions along the way, please put them in the chat. We want to make sure that all your questions get answered by her in the Q&A section. With that said, we ask that y'all be mindful and respectful and to make sure that y'all are muting y'all's mics. And other than that, we are pleased to have y'all. I'm going to introduce the founder herself, Ms. Abdemi, and she is a fearless founder who has been helping carry this whole platform through. So I'm going to pass it on to her.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abdemi. Thank you for joining Scholist App's first workshop series. Today, we'll be talking about tips and tricks on writing your resume so you can get those jobs, those scholarships, whatever you need for a great resume. So if y'all can put your questions in the chat in regards to the resume, that would be great. For those that are just coming in, yes, please put where you're from, on your questions in the chat. Yes, I'm the founder of Scholist App. Scholist App is your one-stop shop for all things scholarships. Definitely check out our website, www.scholistapp.com. Our Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter pages are on the screen. And yeah, now I'm going to pass it on to our amazing guest speaker, Miss Ashley Guevara. She is the founder of Ambition Organization, and she'll be sharing tips and tricks and all you need to know to write a great resume.
Hello, everyone. I see we have many students here. We have people from Canada, Chicago, Plano, Texas, and the University of Houston. So welcome, everybody, and we're so happy to have you today. So my name is Ashley, and I am the founder of the Ambition Organization. It is a student support group that meets weekly, basically a support group to help you build your resume, enhance your interview skills. And today I will actually be presenting on how we can help you build a strong resume. So let me share my screen. Okay, our resume workshop. Okay, so what is a resume? So a resume is an advertisement of you. So it's basically a snap of who you are, your professional summary, and basically all the qualifications for the role that you're applying to. It's about your future and not your past. So why do we need a resume? So first, we need a resume to get a job, and this is a way of presenting yourself. So it is like basically a trailer of who you are and all the experience you have attained. What is not a resume? So it's not an autobiography, and it's not a confessional statement. You do not have to tell only what is marketable or what is relevant to the position. It is not going to get you a job, only an interview. Okay, so here I have actually an example of formatting. So this is a formatting of a correct resume. And then here we have on the left a wrong example. So the formatting of a resume, you can either do a chronological, functional, and a combinational resume. And today we'll be going over examples for a chronological resume, a functional resume, and a combination. So covering the chronological resume is the most traditional format. So normally if you're an undergraduate student who is trying to apply, let's say for an entry-level experience, you will go for a chronological resume because mostly undergraduates, we have a very short amount of experience. So you will list the experience by dates in reverse chronological order. So from the most recent to first, and then it does not highlight the main skills and qualifications. So basically, based off experience you have gained, such as from internships, you would put that there. Also, the most useful would be consistent work history. And then if you have also remained in the same field, this would be the resume for you. And then one thing you can do is highlight the growth and achievement within the same company. So basically, a chronological resume, if you have stayed within the same company and the same career field, this is the resume for you. So here I have actually an example of a chronological resume format. As you can see, we have all the professional history here, and it's one page. So for undergrad, I highly recommend you to just do one page resume. I know we have a rule where you can do 1 to 2 pages, but since we're applying for entry-level positions, one page is more than enough. And then here we have our name and contact information as usual, and then a brief summary. So for entry levels, your brief summary can be a quick sentence, just what your goal is, what your ambitions are. And then here we have your professional history, your educational history, your skills and abilities. And then if we look closely, you see the date. So always go by the educational history, professional history, summary, and objective. So this is a closer look. Okay, so functional skill-based resume. Groups of your qualifications and skill headings, which highlights the major areas of your accomplishments, your strengths, and abilities of importance to the role of the employer. By that being said, actual work history is minimized. So it's useful when changing careers, re-entering the job market, gaps in employment, or variety of different jobs. So this resume is also perfect for an entry-level position. So if you're planning to, let's say, switch different fields, this would be the resume for you. And then if you've had a couple of gaps in employment, I know normally, mostly in undergrad, there's a percentage saying that 45% of students, they do work part-time. So this would also be a good resume for an entry-level position. And then here we have a quick example of the functional resume. So we have our contact information in one area, and then our experience section, your educational section, your accomplishments, a brief introduction, and then your skill sections. And as you can see here, they're all with 3 to 5 bullets. So 3 to 5 bullets is enough, or you can also do one bullet and a summary. And then if we look up closely, we see in the skill sections, just very brief. So basically every resume is just something brief of each position that you have been able to do. And then for accomplishments, you always want to put certificates and all the awards you've earned. So we're now going to cover our combination resume. So a combination resume combines a chronological order all the way from functional. So qualifications and highlights of your strengths. So the work history section may emphasize, instead of job duties, basically awards and accomplishments. So here we have an example of a combination resume. As we can see, it's very small, basically very brief. So all these resumes that I'm presenting today are undergraduate resumes. So if you're trying to apply, let's say, for an administrative assistant, you have your name and contact information, your summary, always put your skills and abilities, and then your professional experience, education, and awards. So college students, I always recommend to be involved, attain leadership positions, because that will really be a key of being able to sell yourself for the hiring manager or when you have to do a hiring committee. And then if we look up closely, we have the small bullet points. We have always the educational history. As we can see here, we have the GPA. So I highly recommend, if you have excelled in your academics, to put your GPA. When you're an undergraduate student, I would always say try to brag as much as you can with your awards and everything that you've been involved in, because we do have less professional history. Okay, so resume components. We have the heading, the job objective, the summary qualifications, and the work experience, education, and skills and abilities. So those are the components that I'll be also covering. So for your heading, we always want to put our full name, our address, a phone number, and a professional email address. One rule is to always have your email professional. It can be your first and last name and a number. After applying for a role, be consistent with checking your email address. You always want to use the email address that you check the most. So for resume components, being specific. You always have to be specific and be consistent. So a short statement that tells the employer the position you're applying for a job. You always want to revise your resume every time you apply for a job. When you look at the job description, you see the skills. Always go back and look at the skills, and also look what the hiring manager is looking for. So when you see the skills listed, you want to make your resume very relevant to the skills of the role that is asking for. Resume components, summary of qualification. What makes you the best candidate for the job? So your qualifications, your skills, your abilities, the years of experience, and your work ethics, accomplishments, and values. So you must reflect on the job description, like I said. So one paragraph, 3 to 5 bullet statements is more than enough. So the most important part of your resume catches and keeps the reader's attention. Work experience, reverse chronological order, 10 years. Required position title, name of company, dates of employment, month and year. You always want to be using the date that you started and the date that you ended. And another extra thing is that we can always put the city and then be specific with the company that you work for and be descriptive when you list the responsibilities, the job description, and accomplishments. And always show your value and success. Resume components. Okay, so I'll be covering the education side. As always, reverse chronological. Always put your degree, your major, your school year, and graduation. And like I said, the GPA, it can be optional. And then professional training may also be listed. So like certifications, professional development. Resume components, basically skills and abilities listed as a separate section, functional or combinational resume, dividing categories that are related to the job. So example, some skills that you can put on your resume can be budget management, documentation abilities, proficiency in softwares, Excel, Power BI, and Access. So those are a few examples. And right now I'll be going actually over hard skills and soft skills. So hard skills are teachable abilities or skill sets that are easy to quantify. So your proficiency in a foreign language, if you're bilingual, a degree or certificate, if you're good at typing, machine operation, computer programming. And then a soft skill is also known as people skills or interpersonal skills. So we have communication, flexibility, leadership, teamwork, and time management. So additional resume components are activities, honors, certifications, achievements, awards, licensing, professional affiliations. So I know if you're in secondary education, we're common with the National Honor Society. So a certificate in human resource management, something that can be attainable at a community college. And if you have earned honors within your undergraduate level years, you can also put that like summa cum laude, magna cum laude. Okay, so we have the don'ts. Don't ever lie on your resume. You always want to be honest when you're filling out your resume. And then don't include irrelevant information, such as your date of birth, your weight, ethnicity, or religious affiliations that is not relevant to a resume. And then don't use pronouns like I, me, or mine in your resume. Don't write references upon request. You always want to ask your references in advance because they can, get a phone call and it can be very random. So you always want to tell your references in advance, and you also want to thank them. So don't list hobbies and interests unless it's related to the position you are applying to. Okay, so resume layouts and appearances. White or white paper. So it can be white paper and black, so white and black. Just a minute. So usually 1 page to 2 pages in a font of 12, no more smaller than 11. So be consistent with the layout with underlining, capitalizing, and bold letters. Use white spaces, good margins, and tabs, and always use bullets, and always make sure to check your grammar. Excuse me. So your wording, use action verbs. Use phrases that focus on your success and your accomplishments. Only include what is relevant and marketable. Use bullet lists and paragraphs. Use past tense for past work experiences. Okay, so where to begin? Get started with a paper, make a list of all your work, experience, and educational abilities. So what I do before making my resume, I always make a list of all my accomplishments. And if you have too many, you always want to put the ones that are most relevant and important to the position. If making a career change, always remember the transferable skills. And that also goes to interviewing. You also want to see the skills that you have attained in another field, how can they be transferable? In a basic layout format, and always fill in the blanks. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. This is my contact information, and then you can also find me at LinkedIn at Ashley Guevara. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Ashley. It was amazing. Now, if y'all have had any questions while she was presenting, please put them in the comments section so we can have them answered by her directly. Don't be shy. She's a pro at this. She loves doing this and helping y'all out. But now we're going to move on to our Q&A section. So with that said, while y'all are typing your questions in the comments section, we will be answering some questions that y'all have sent in prior to this event starting. So one of the questions is using a template from Canva acceptable, and would color disqualify you in deliberation?
So one thing is, with our career services, I do work in our retention programs at our college that me and Kimberly previously attended. And one thing is that using color, I would say avoid using colorful fonts, depending in the company that you are applying for. So for example, I have seen job descriptions with Google when it comes to interviewing, don't come dressed professionally, and then make your resume colorful. So we have companies like that would suggest being very unique. But if you're applying for, let's say, an administrative assistant or executive position, use black and white. And that is the typical color that is usually used. So depending on your company, do some research over that. But I would say try avoiding color.
Okay, awesome. And while you're on that note, we got another one, and that says, is it better for your resume to be black and white?
So going back to that, yes, always try to stick to the typical black and white font.
Okay, perfect.
Any more
we have another question. Yeah, any more questions, guys? Put them in the comments. I'm going to go and read other questions while y'all type your questions in the comment section. So another one we have here is, here it goes. What is the best format to arrange your experience?
Always, I would suggest chronological order. You always want to start with your most recent experience all the way moving down. So basically start in order. So your latest job, always put at the top for entry levels.
Perfect. And then we did also have another question by Jordan. Will these slides be sent out to us later on?
Jordan,
so what we can do
is actually provide a link after, and Scholist can, provide that. So we'll work with that.
That'll be great.
Yeah, definitely want y'all to have these resources so y'all can use them as y'all improve y'all's resumes. We have this is a good one. So it says, should I include my GPA on my resume if it's not better than a 3.5?
So that is completely optional. I know no company will reject a candidate based off GPA in your academics. A degree is a degree, and as long as you meet those required qualifications, that should not prevent you from getting the position. But I will say, if you do not have, I guess, the most feasible GPA, or if you're on academic probation, suspension, or were on, previously warning, or if it's less than a 3.0, I would suggest not putting it on your resume. But it's completely optional. Okay. And like I said, not prevent you from qualifications. But one thing with resumes, you always want to impress.
Okay, perfect. And then we have another question, which a lot of students, such as myself, also ask: can a resume be more than one page?
So that is a rule of thumb. One thing is, if you are a recent graduate from undergraduate school, yes, the rule would be 1 page is more than enough because of the experience that you have gained. And also, one thing when it comes to recruitment, they usually just go through resumes quickly. So they would normally, for a hiring committee, 150 applications are received. So recruiters, they only want a brief summary of your qualifications. So 2 pages, I would not suggest 2 pages for an entry-level experience, but for an executive position, it can be 2 pages.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we have another question right now by Samuel. And is it safe to use present tense for a current position?
Okay, so I see it. Is it safe to use present tense? Yeah. Present tense for current position.
Pardon.
So yes, you can use present tense for a current position.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so again, guys, feel free to, this is your moment to ask her anything. And I mean, anything, she will gladly answer them. If not, we will continue going down the list of questions that we already have. And another one would be, here it is. Do you recommend creating your own resume template or downloading one?
You can download and create your own resume template as long as you are making it credible to your experience. That is completely fine. Just make sure to always use your own words.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then, in your experience, what are key things recruiters look for in your resume?
So one thing I will say that recruiters look for in your resume is when they, let's say, for example, they post a position and you see the skills listed. You always want to make your resume based off the job description. So like I said, you always want to update your resume. Always update it every time you apply for a different position, because you always want to make it relevant in your job description. For example, documentation abilities. You're going to want to list that if you're applying, let's say, for an example, an administrative position. For example, if you're applying for a job that is in counseling, compassionate and active listener. So those are like skill examples, but you always want to make it relevant to the position. So updating it for a different job that you'll apply, it's a yes.
Okay, thank you. And then we got another question from Jordan. Follow up on the last question. How would you recommend doing the layout on a resume?
So part of the examples I was showing today, I covered the functional resume. So with the functional resume, that one is perfect if you are an undergraduate student or a graduate student, because it's going from chronological order. So you'll start with the heading, your name, address, phone number, and then a brief summary that is 1 to 2 sentences. And then you'll start with your bullet points. That is perfect for undergraduate students because it's up to 3 to 5 bullet points, and it's a very small resume.
Okay. Another one here we have is, do I include personal information such interests and hobbies? And if yes, how do I list them in an impressive way?
Kimberly, you were breaking. Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, so do I include personal information such as interests and hobbies? And if yes, how do I list them in an impressive way?
Okay, perfect. So interest, I heard interest and hobbies in a way of listing them, right? Sorry guys, my sound. But yes, for hobbies can be listed, but one thing, as I said, just make it relevant to, if it's relevant to the job description, you can put those hobbies. And then always never be afraid to brag over your academical accomplishments. Make sure you list all the certifications you have earned, all the honors, and anything regarding leadership. That is always very impressive to recruiters, because the recruiter's job is basically to scan your resume. So that recruiter will forward your resume to the hiring manager.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering that. And those are all questions I have listed here. So if anyone else wants to add in some questions right now that perhaps Ashley didn't answer, now is your time to do so. We would love to hear from y'all. Give y'all moments to put that in the comments section. Ashley has a lot of experience working with students, so she, knows a little bit about what recruiters look for in resumes and what students struggle usually. So thanks, Ashley.
Someone just even sent me a question. What are some buzzwords to use on your resume to describe things you've done?
Okay, so depending on the position, some of the words, you always want to be professional when you use your words. Try to use, for example, I was going over documentation abilities. And one thing I will say that I would really love to cover is you want to be proficient in software. So if you're applying, let's say, for a computer science position, you always want to put that if you have a foundation in Excel, Power BI, Access, Microsoft Teams, which is something that is now used daily in companies. I know where I work, we use a lot of Microsoft Teams. We do a lot of data. So you always want to put very strong words, but also skills that you have also been able to attain. So for example, we have our soft skills. Our soft skills are interpersonal skills. So you also want to be sure to list that. Like I said, it all depends to the position you're applying to.
I actually have another question. This one is personal experience. So when I was in college, I would get recruiters that would say, have your education at the bottom instead of the top, or have your skills at the top instead of the bottom. So can you tell us which one is better? Is it better to have your skills at the top or skills at the bottom, or education at the top, education at the bottom?
Okay, so for coming from a student perspective, you always want to have your skills at the top. Like I said, recruiters, they review resumes all the time. So they're constantly recruiting, and reviewing, resumes up to 150, let's say, for one position. I heard something. Okay, so furtherly going. So yeah, for recruitment, basically you would want to put your skills at the top, because that would be very eye-catching, because that's only one word and they only see one bullet. And then I know there's always a group that says, well, and I've heard that before from my personal experience, well, you need education on the top. You can't put education below. It really doesn't matter as long as it's there and it shows that you've attained that degree. And I would suggest putting education. That can be the last thing, because you can list it with your awards and the leadership skills that you have been able to attain if you have been an active student. So that's one of the things I said, because for undergrad, it can sometimes even be hard to fill one page for those who haven't been able to attain an internship or haven't been able to work in a position that is relevant to your, future career or desired position.
All right, thank you so much. And we have another one. Under what section should undergraduate experience be included?
Yeah, I think they meant undergraduate research experience be included.
Oh, under what section should undergraduate experience? Okay, so for example, undergraduate, if
So this is
you've done work study, if you've done an internship, always add those experiences because work study counts. You can add work study to your resume because it is experience, you are getting paid for it. Always add for experience, always add everything that you've gotten paid for because like leadership roles, for example, if you're president for a student organization, and I know there have been common mistakes that I've seen with resumes is that undergraduate students will put organizations, such as if you're president of an organization, they'll put it as experience, as a job experience, and that doesn't count. So for example, work study, that can pass as experience because we don't have much experience when you're an undergraduate student. But leadership roles, they always go below the section where you have education and then accomplishments. But organization roles, they do not count as paid experience.
Thank
All
you.
right,
I hope
thank you. Yeah, well, guys, we thank y'all for your questions. They are very helpful, and well, I even learned something today. We don't stop learning about this. Talking about building your resume. My question to you would be, as you continue to get more positions, be involved in more, take more internships. How do you update? How do you keep up with your resume and updating it?
So keeping up based on undergraduate experience, keeping up with your resume, one thing that I always do once I start a new position and it's already been, let's say, 2 months, you always want to keep updating it. So that's what I will say. Always keep updating it, never wait. And one thing is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an amazing social media platform to network. One thing, you also want to make your experience relevant on LinkedIn and keep your profile updated because that is a platform where there are many hiring managers and recruiters. So if your resume is, let's say you apply for a job and you submit your resume, one thing is that recruiters use LinkedIn a lot. And if they see two different sides of the story, they won't really know which, if you're being feasible. So one thing is always, if you have LinkedIn, always keep it updated just as resume.
Very, very good tip, Ashley. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Well,
Ashley.
I want to hear y'all in the comment section. Was cool? Yeah, thank you so much, Ashley. Was there anything we left out? We kind of want to hear y'all's thoughts in the comment section. Even put in the comment section one thing that y'all, learned that's different that y'all perhaps didn't even know. We want to learn from y'all and see how this has helped in any way.
I also wanted to add to what Ashley
But other
said.
than
that, can you hear me? I also wanted to add to what Ashley said. From my personal experience, I feel like it's really great to have a resume that says main resume, right? The main resume is going to have all your accomplishments in that resume. You're going to have every single thing you've done in this life should be in that resume. And for every job or every scholarship, you pick out things that are important for that role. So for me, I'm always tailoring my resume. I have over 50 to 60 resumes on my desktop just because I'm always trying to pick out things from my main resume to put in my tailored resume. So that is very important. So like if you get a job that is for like an engineering role, right? But your resume is more tailored to a business role, you can pick some things that you feel like will be great for the engineering role from your main resume. I think that is very important to know, and it has helped me so far. So I hope that will be helpful to you guys.
Thanks. And one more thing, Ashley, are there any resources you suggest that, people use as they're improving the resumes? Anything that you would say is helpful?
So yes, if you're debating within which career to choose, there are some free sites such as, it's called Gallup Strength. So it helps you identify your strengths. It's one of the things that I was able to use as a college student. Basically, you take all these quizzes based off your interest and personality. I know when you're an undergraduate, some of us may be unsure on what we're trying to major in which career. So always do some research with that. And with the Gallup, one thing is that you also get that resume experience because they have videos on how to enhance your resume, and you take all these quizzes and you're able to find it relevant to your experience and also to the role that you're going to be applying to. So yeah, there are many free resources.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Is the Gallup Strength a website? Is it a book? I'm trying to Google it to put in the chat.
So the Gallup Strengths is a online website where you can find your strengths. Okay. You can type it on basically on Google here. It's called Gallup Strengths, and it's completely free. It's just being able to find your strengths. I actually did it once, and mine are empathy, consistency, relator, ideation, and analytical. And then what's really cool is that they match it to a career that they can see you in. So if you're debating on what to major in, I see that it's been posted here on the link. So please feel free to click that and take the quiz. It's called Gallup Strengths.
And yeah, we have it in the comment section, guys. So if y'all just go up there and see the website, it's posted. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Samuel. He said, I think it was very informative, learned a lot. Thank you. We're so glad to hear that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We enjoyed having y'all here at this workshop, the resume building. This is the first of many, so stay tuned. The many more we have coming up. And I'm going to pass to our founder, Abidemi, who's going to talk a little bit more about Scholist App and what we're about. So I'm going to pass it on to her.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashley, and thank you, Kimberly, for everything. Thank you for the comments. You guys are really interactive, and we love that. And I hope you guys learned a lot from Ashley. Yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot from Ashley. And yeah, if you want to subscribe to our channel to get more, get updated on scholarships, get updated on when we post workshops like this, definitely subscribe. I think you can click on our page and you can subscribe there. And then you can also follow us on our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn. Everything is on the bottom of the screen. I don't know if my mouse can show that, but everything is on the bottom of the screen. Follow us for scholarship updates. We post research programs, opportunities, any kind of opportunities you're looking for. You can find that on Scholist App. Also, we have our website coming soon, sometime in June. Definitely go there and sign up, subscribe, so you can get updated when we are live with our website, and then you can start applying to scholarships. So Scholist is just really your one-stop shop for all things scholarships. So there you can apply to scholarships, get coaching, get interview prep, get help with your resume. You can also keep track of your scholarships. So every single thing that you don't get on other scholarship platforms, you get on Scholist App. And definitely sign up. I don't think you'll regret it. And yeah, that's really all for my pitch, I guess. But yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, we love the pitch. Again, thank y'all for being here. If y'all, want a certain kind of workshop, maybe y'all want a workshop of how to practice interviewing, let us know in the comments. We want to hear y'all's thoughts, y'all's feedback, so you could plan more workshops tailored to y'all's needs. Of course, we want to make sure that we all grow from this. So feel free to put it in the comments section, and we look forward to having y'all soon next time. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Have a great day. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley.